Hi, everyone. We're doing a POV of the studio tour, and I'm doing Halloween Horror Nights, not for the live, but not the live stream, but for what's up to come in the channel. So make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell for more content like this. If you are new here or like our content, we consider you to subscribe and ring that notification bell for more content like this. Thank you. Hey. Okay, thank you.
On the train. If you have an emergency, call the emergency cord. We will respond to your emergency.
What are you doing? We're cut, alright? We're cut. They hurt my neck.
It's easy. Now that you know the guidelines.
Hi guys. Go ahead, take any open seats. Okay.
It's easy.
All right, for those of you just joining us, welcome on board. Find a good seat. We're getting those gates closed because we're going to hit the road here very shortly. You see our glamour trams, the red and white trams, are what we started with back on July 15, 1964, and that was our opening day. Tickets were $2.50. For that cost, you reserved yourself a seat. We only had 2 guides and 2 drivers, so we only did like 3 or 4 tours a day, and would head out to the studio where we were filming a lot of westerns, TV shows like The Munsters was filmed here. Hitchcock was working on a lot at that point, so gives you a little idea of where we started, but I'll talk about where we are going and the productions that we're currently working on as we head into the studio. Looks like we got the go-ahead, so make sure you take those seats, get comfortable, and wave goodbye to everyone as we get out of here. Bye! See you later. Woohoo! Let's go get some hot butterbeer later, yeah? That sounds good. Look at this view to the right side. I always say this is the real Hollywood. The Hollywood sign's on the flip side of that hill, but this is the real working Hollywood. Because we got lots of studios out there. You're looking at Warner Brothers, Disney, and of course all of us here at Universal. We are the biggest and the oldest studio here in Los Angeles. Welcome aboard. I'm your tour guide, Heather. You got Steve at the wheel. We're going to take care of you. So all you need to do is kick back, relax, and enjoy the ride. So I do have to cover some safety before we get too far. First, if you need guest assistance or have a medical emergency, or if you drop something of value off the side of the tram, or have any sound or video issues, you can reach out and grab the red E-cord. Runs along the center of the ceiling of the tram, and I will be back to assist you as soon as it is safe to do so. Otherwise, during the entire tour, please stay seated, keeping arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. Remember to use the red cord above your head if you need any assistance. This studio is private property, so if at any time during the tour you drop your phone or you just can't wait to use the restroom, you can pull the cord, but then you have to remain seated. Please no smoking of any kind during our tour, and be prepared. Our tour today will feature loud noises, sudden tram movements, fire effects, and many water effects. You want to have cell phones and cameras out for photos, just keep an eye on them so they don't get too wet. And finally, for your safety and those around you, please do not use selfie sticks while on board the tram. All right, we're getting underway. We're actually going to get real close to our big construction site here to the left. We're building a new roller coaster based on the Fast and Furious franchise, calling it Hollywood Drift. This is going to be big, too. If you look at this, you can kind of look up and see where they're starting to lay track That's going to be opening in 2026 here at Universal Studios Hollywood. On the right side, you see the lower lot of our theme park. You'll see Transformers, The Mummy, Jurassic World, and all of Super Nintendo World out there. I'm going to let my co-host come say hi. He's the host of The Tonight Show on NBC. This is Jimmy Fallon.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Fallon. Welcome aboard the world-famous studio tour. I know you're thinking, why the tux? Well, we're celebrating our 60th anniversary. That's right, 60 years of glitz, glamour, and our own great white shark. As we celebrate our diamond anniversary today, we'll pay tribute to Universal's past and take you behind the scenes to discover why this studio tour is world famous. So whether this is your first visit or your 60th, get ready for fun, excitement, and an experience like no other.
Thank you, Jimmy. As we continue down the hill, you'll see the movie posters lining the hill on the right side, giving you a little sense of our film history. And this is our fire station on the right side, Fire Station 51, keeping us safe every day here on the lot. It looks like they got the ladder truck out in a call right now, so maybe we'll see him a little bit later on in the lot. We have 400 acres here at Universal. We are the largest lot in Los Angeles. And it all began with our founder, Carl Laemmle. You can see Mr. Laemmle there on your screens. This was back in 1915 when he actually opened the lot to the public. It was our grand opening day, March 15th, 1915. People could pay 25 cents each to sit and watch us film silent movies. And in ways, that is really kind of what eventually birthed the modern studio tour. That was in 1964. Our company chairman, Lou Wasserman, along with his fellow executives Al Durskin and Jay Stein, came up with the idea to revive the studio tour. And it started with Gray Line bus tours, making a stop here at Universal. And then we created our glamour trams. We launched those in 1964. You can see the beginnings of our tour. We started with only 4 of us working at the studio tour, eventually expanding, adding attractions to the tour itself, adding to our staff. And we've become a Hollywood tradition here at Universal. We're actually moving into the front lot of the studio right now. Now, we are still in between theme park and studio. So on the right side is the theme park. This is the back of Super Nintendo World, home to Mario and Luigi nowadays. But this used to be what we called the preview center. It was home to the special effects show for many, many years. On the left side, though, this is the studio. We got sound stages over here, the big black and white buildings with numbers on them, are where we do all our interior filming. We're setting up for actually the 4th season of Hacks right now. It's a wonderful show, UCP production. We produce it and create and film it here. It stars Jean Smart as Deborah Vance. I believe she might be up for an Emmy again. She has won several for that role. And it's a fun show. It streams on Max. And then we're setting up for season 2 of Ted in some of these stages as well. In fact, you can see their golf carts right there. We're going to see their set a little later on in the tour. That is another UCP production, of course, executive produced and directed by Seth MacFarlane. I love having it on the lot. This is their base camp, actually, over here to your left side, all the trucks and trailers. So this houses makeup, hair, and wardrobe departments, equipment trucks, and everything we need is kind of here in base camp. Every production has one, so we're going to see a few of these as we drive through the studio. And yes, everything can go away on wheels if we head off the lot to film on location. Stage 14 on your left is our second oldest stage. It was built in 1932. It's one of our bigger stages, about 20,000 square feet. They had the entire Antarctic lab built there for John Carpenter's The Thing. That was also home to a lot of big scenes in the original Jurassic Park movie, including the Brontosaurus sneezing scene. And it was home to The Grinch's Lair for How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Nowadays we use it for television. It's actually home to the Peacock series Bel Air that just dropped season 3. And that is a great show, a dramatic retelling of the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Highly recommend it. We also just wrapped season 2 of another Peacock series based on a true story in the stages here to your right side. That one stars Kelly Cuoco from Big Bang Theory and Chris Messina from The Mindy Project. TV has been a big part of what we do here for decades. We've been making television really since the 50s, and a lot of the TV or the stages over on your right have accommodated these TV shows. So a lot of the classic titles you can see on your screens were actually filmed over here. Things like, let's see, Leave It to Beaver, The Munsters, Murder, She Wrote, Columbo, Knight Rider, The Incredible Hulk. And for years, a lot of classic sitcoms, The Jeffersons, Who's the Boss, and Facts of Life, all filmed in stage 18 and 19 on your right side. And like that, one of our TV stars, Ted there, toasting us. Cheers, Ted. He's standing in front of our bungalows. These bungalows house production companies and producers we work with. Big producers. Amy Pascal, if you don't know that name, She is responsible for the Venom movies. She also did Spider-Man No Way Home, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. She's responsible for a lot of the Spider-Man films that you know and love, and she has an office right here on the lot, so we love that she works now at Universal. We also have Illumination Entertainment back here. They are responsible for the Minions, Despicable Me 4, of course, the most recent release. Kevin Williamson's Outer Banks Entertainment. He's a big name in horror. He, of course, wrote and created Scream. He's directing Scream 7. He did Vampire Diaries on television, so love that he has an office here. And then we got Mark Black Productions over there. Wicked, you might notice the Wicked ball outside their office. They got Wicked coming out later this year with Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. And then Alfred Hitchcock's old office, 5195, still on the lot. You'll see his profile there beside the door. So he was a fixture here for years, did a lot of his movies here. Things like Marnie, Torn Curtain, The Birds, and of course, Psycho. Stage 25 is currently home to Lopez versus Lopez, starring George and Mayan Lopez.
The studio tour has changed over the years. Each generation has its favorite moments and memories, whether it's the rock slide or the ice tunnel.
Dad, really?
Who didn't love the ice tunnel?
Well, one thing that hasn't changed has been families sharing this one-of-a-kind behind-the-scenes adventure together.
How about picture card?
Oh, that would be great.
There you go.
Yeah, they are back in filming season 3 right now. And we do bring in a big live studio audience for that show, which is a lot of fun. This stage right next to us is currently home to a new comedy called St. Denis Medical. David Allen Greer, Winnie McLennan Covey, and Allison Tolman will be starring in that. Their exteriors are actually shot right across the street to your right in the Metropolitan set. We are entering our beautiful backlot, home to large-scale exterior locations. This first area you're going to see on the right, called Brownstone Street, is currently home to the exterior hospital set for St. Denis Medical, which, by the way, debuts in November on NBC. But over the years, this has been used for everything from Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, to The Mindy Project, and How I Met Your Mother. The brownstone staircases is what this is named after. You can actually see them here in this scene from a movie called Bruce Almighty. They're kind of behind the blue tents. Let's check that out. Right now, though, we're pulling into what might be the most recognizable area on our lot. We call this Courthouse Square. It is still better known as Hill Valley from Back to the Future.
Welcome to the Courthouse Square. These sets were used to create Hill Valley in the Back to the Future films.
And they represented multiple time periods, 1985, 1955, and the far, far distant future, 2015. To this day, this is one of the most popular sets on the Universal Studio tour.
We had a lot of fun making those films here on the lot. I wonder what it'd be like to go back to those days. If only we had a time machine.
Hey, everybody, do you think we can get this tram up to 88 miles per hour?
Maybe 8 miles per hour. Got, of course, Bob Gale, writer, creator of Back to the Future, and Leah Thompson, one of the stars. We're currently using that area for Ted. As we round the corner, the theater marquee on the corner used for Taylor Swift's Wildest Dreams music video. And over the years, a lot of music videos have shot here because this is New York Street. It can play downtown anywhere in the world in any time period. You've seen this in Britney Spears' music video, I Wanna Go. Billie Eilish did a big music video montage in 2021 out here, where this all played Paris, Jisoo's Flower music video. And, of course, big feature films. Marvel's Amazing Spider-Man filmed here with Andrew Garfield. Captain America, the First Avenger turned this all into the 1940s. We do American Ninja Warrior out here. They build the obstacle course up and down the street whenever they're in LA. We're currently using it for production. In fact, there's a lot of set pieces up right now. The light poles, the traffic signals, the trash cans, the post office boxes. So those are all set decoration for a current production that is using New York Street. It's a fun, really versatile area of the lot. Usually Monday through Friday is closed to the tour, so always good to visit on the weekend when we can actually drive you through it. We're going to leave it behind, though, for now and head up the hill. We got two old parts of our studio tour up here, the collapsing bridge and the runaway train. You can see them on your screens, and you'll see them on the right. We used to drive the tram over the bridge. The collapsing bridge, of course, would, well, collapse on us about halfway over. We'd plummet down a few feet. It was a lot of fun. The train is the runaway train. Used to sit in our western sets where it would come hurtling towards us. It was coming to a screeching halt. Both of these attractions have since retired, so we don't do them anymore on the tour. But they now sit at the entrance to the cave that's going to get us back to Skull Island from the 2005 movie King Kong, directed by Peter Jackson.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up on the edge. And Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island. It's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island.
That's right. I'm also going to ask that all lights be turned off cameras. You can film in here, just please turn your light and flash off. We have it dark in here for a reason, and you don't want to ruin the effect for everyone sitting around you, all right? So, a couple safety reminders. Stay seated during this entire experience. Gonna get real bumpy and bouncy. In fact, we're gonna throw you around a lot in here. So, you definitely need to hold on tight to everything. And you will want to start getting those 3D glasses ready to go because we are about to surround you with the environment of Skull Island from King Kong. Alright, it looks like we made it, yeah? King Kong 360 3D. Not bad. Putting you in the middle of the action. That is something we love to do here and have always done on the tour. We show you where we film the scenes, but we also put you in a scene, and that does that so well. We added that to the tour in 2010, 14 years ago. We called it the Summer of Kong. I remember it well. We work with Weta Effects. Of course, they did the movie. They did this for us as well. You can see Peter Jackson and his team working on this attraction. So here's a little bit of how it works. We got hydraulics underneath us. So there you go. Every car is on its own platform. So if you're in the back, you might have noticed we all kind of move a little independently. And then we drive in between two giant movie screens. They look like that. They're 40 feet tall. They're 180 feet long. We drive right in between them. And we use 16 digital projectors inside that stage. So it is really, truly a meeting of practical and digital effects in there.
With a project like the studio tour, the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions. There's creatures coming at them. They're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working on a movie, we always know where the people are looking. They're looking straight ahead. They're looking at the shot that we're working on.
Here you have to take into account that people are looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this ride, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts because it's one giant shot. This tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away.
They're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, it's a hell of a ride.
That is indeed. VIDS now won 7 Academy Awards for their work in visual effects. They're so good. They're some of the best in the business, so check them out. One of my favorite things is on your right side. It's this beautiful monster mural painted by Tristan Eaton for us a few years ago. He's a world-renowned graffiti artist. You can see him in action on your screens. He did the entire thing free-handed with hundreds and hundreds of cans of spray paint. This is obviously an homage to our monster legacy here at Universal. Every panel includes kind of pieces of footage from each film. It's just really, truly an incredible work of art. Across the street, you might see a little red mural with a V on it. That is for The Voice films here. In stages 30 and 31. We're currently in season 26 of The Voice. We got a great coaching panel this season that includes Reba McEntire, Gwen Stefani, Michael Bublé, and this guy.
Hey, studio tour. It's your boy Snoop Dogg. Did you know that the Universal backlot is home of the VIDS? That's right. We tape right here on stage 31. Don't miss our incredible new season every Monday and Tuesday on NBC. See you. Now that you've heard the rest, you can hear the best. You can be with the S and have this on your chest.
Snoop joins The Voice Monday, September 23rd on NBC and Peacock.
Yes, I love having Snoop here on the lot. It has been so much fun. You can bring in a big live studio audience for that show as well. You get to hang out on the stage for the day, which is always a great time. We're actually driving into the back half of the studio, where nowadays we have satellite dishes and sound stages, but we used to house a giant village location. It looks a little bit like this, and it is where we filmed all of our classic monster movies, starting in 1923 with Hunchback of Notre Dame, Lon Chaney, and then of course in the early 30s, Frankenstein and Dracula came out. Both of those were huge hits for us. You can see footage of Frankenstein there on your screens. Now our village set has shrunk to what you're seeing here. This is what we call Little Europe. Little Europe has been in so many things over the years. This was all Genovia for Disney's Princess Diaries 2, A Royal Engagement. We're actually driving up the Princess Parade route right now. It was also used in their Pirates of the Caribbean movies as Port Royale, Cinderella, with Brandy and Whitney Houston filmed here. And for 4 years, this was all the afterlife in our TV show, The Good Place.
Eleanor Shellstrom, our deck.
Cool.
This location, the afterlife, come on. I've never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here. I can't risk going to the bad place.
Okay, well, maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
Yes, that show was so awesome. We had a year for all 4 of their seasons, nominated for 13 Emmys in their 4-year run. The Good Place now streams on Netflix, so go check it out. Almost every episode featured Little Europe at some point, so it was its main location. Over the years, a lot of television is filmed here. I used to call this the super spy show area because we had so many of those filmed here. Things like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Heroes, Alias, and Chuck all filmed episodes out here. And then, of course, vampire shows. True Blood, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel all did episodes here. Things like Gilmore Girls, Beverly Hills 90210, and SEAL Team have also shot episodes in Little Europe. So we changed the language in that area, the signs hanging in the windows. We have 2 commercials recently that filmed there. One with Pedro Pascal for Corona, another one with Sabrina Carpenter. It was a promo for the Olympics where she was sitting in a cafe in Paris talking to a bird. That was all done in Little Europe as well. So it's a really fun area of the lot, but you can't drive through Little Europe without throwing it back to where it all began, our monster movies.
Universal, we think of monsters.
Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Bride of Frankenstein,
The Mummy,
The Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Invisible Man, Phantom of the Opera. Classic films. They're just brilliantly made.
That Frankenstein image, flathead, bolt, it's one of the great icons of the world.
That to me was like the essence of the Universal horror film.
I was just mesmerized by these movies. Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney.
I remember the original Universal Studios Mummy movie really scaring me.
They still ring in our memories now, and we love them.
Yes, we are still known as the Monster Movie Studio to this day, partly because the monster movies put us on the map. These movies were so successful, they really kind of created an identity for us here in Hollywood. Also, they helped save us during the Great Depression. A lot of these big movies were coming out in the early 30s when the Great Depression was happening. A lot of businesses had to shut down, but we did not because of the success of the monster movies. Dracula and Frankenstein came out in the same year, 1931. Both of those were huge hits and spawned a lot of sequels, especially Frankenstein. A lot of people consider that movie to be the first franchise. Ultimately spawned The Bride of Frankenstein, House of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, even Dracula, Dracula's Daughters. I mean, so there was a lot of sequels to both of those, making big stars out of Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff. And of course, nowadays we work with modern horror filmmakers. Jordan Peele, Nia DaCosta did the latest Candyman reboot, Guillermo del Toro, Blumhouse are our partners. And I'm going to prove it to you in a little bit on the tour. But right now, we're going to leave our monsters behind and head inside. We're going inside stage 50. So another reminder to stay seated, hold on to everything. We might see a little action in here. And take a look around. We're going in the bottom level of what is a 2-level sound stage. You might recognize this as a bit of a subway station, right? Or a metro station. Now, we're still doing some camera tests on here, and we're still kind of figuring out the stage a little bit. So we are painting it. We even have makeup hair and wardrobe set up because we're doing some practice for a scene that's going to go upstairs to the top level of the stage where we have a city street set built. So we actually have 2 complete sets built inside one sound stage. Okay, a bit of an earthquake. It's okay, just stay seated. We do get this. Oh, it's still going. Hold on. Ceiling in the back, watch out! Let's reset, please. Oh, a disaster in there. That is what we call our earthquake stage. We call that earthquake, the big one. We've had that on the tour for 35 years, by the way. So it's been on our tour since 1989. I love earthquake. It's all mechanical effects inside there. It resets itself in 15 seconds and it's ready to go again. So we did have it closed for the past year or so. We were updating it, making the inside look a little more modern. And we reopened it just in time for our 60th anniversary. So very fun to have Earthquake back on the tour. I'll let you know we're a little bit past the halfway point on the studio tour. Just want to remind you to stay seated during our entire tour. The studio is private property. If you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, hold a cord. I will be back to assist you, but please remain seated on the tram, especially as we head down by the water in a small town called Amity Island. Now, you might recognize Amity from the hit film Jaws, a perfect vacation spot with a bit of a shark problem. So, always need to be careful. Looks pretty calm and quiet this morning. And, uh-oh. You see that? Got a shark out there. Okay. This doesn't look... Oh, there's our diver. Okay, that's George, our diver. It's okay. He's well trained. I'm sure he knows exactly what to do. It's okay, we're gonna go for it here. I'm sure we'll be safe behind all the gasoline barrels. Oh, we attached shark bait to that yellow barrel out in the water. Looks like we took it. Up close and personal with our resident shark. A nice taste of the movie Jaws. Jaws, a classic film. And this is, by the way, a classic part of our studio tour. We opened this in 1976, less than a year after the movie was released. Jaws came out in June of 1975, and it changed movies. It really did. Kind of showed everyone just how successful a movie could be being released in the summer, but it also really changed how we make thrillers and suspense. It just was brilliant between director Steven Spielberg and editor Vernon Fields. We're right now heading into another historic part of the lot. Here to tell us what's next is today's show co-host and weather anchor, Al Roker.
This way. Time for my favorite part of the tour, weather. When it comes to film and TV, it is truly a special effect. In fact, to demonstrate how weather effects are created, we debuted our first major attraction here on the studio tour way back in 1968. Welcome to the only part of the backlot with a 100% chance of rain. The flash flood.
Yes, thank you, Al. It's raining on our left side because this is, of course, well, it's movie rain. We're doing this. So, I don't know if you've ever gotten to be in a weather scene on set. I've gotten to do a few of them. If you're an actor, you're going to get wet because you're on camera. But hopefully we're keeping the crew and the camera equipment dry, and that's where we are, right? So we got the sprinklers rigged above us. Uh-oh. Our flash flood is coming down the hill. Watch out. That is our oldest attraction, as Al said, goes back to 1968. That flash flood you can see on screen here in the movie Big Fat Liar.
We'll see about that.
Lady Gaga also stood in that flood in her music video Judas that filmed in this corner of the lot. This corner of the lot also used for Nacho Libre with Jack Black. And of course, way before that, Three Amigos with Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and Martin Short. And Steve Martin and Martin Short up for Emmys tonight for their performances in Only Murders in the Building, by the way. So this is a little more historic part of the lot, our Western sets. We still call this area 6 Points because we used to have 6 different Western towns that all met in the middle, kind of like a wagon wheel. Now it's one main street. You saw it most recently in the horror film Maxine. Mia Goth and Kevin Bacon chased each other up and down the street and actually went into and out of some of the buildings. But the heyday of the Western, that really happened 1940s through the 70s. You can see a little bit of it here on your screens. Greats like Jimmy Stewart, Clint Eastwood, even Mae West from My Little Chickadee out here in the 40s.
How dare you hit that man?
Mine hit the ground first. Mine
project there with Kirk Douglas and John Wayne. So this is where things like the Virginian Wagon Train, Winchester 73 were done. A little more recently, we did Quantum Leap here. They did an episode that leapt back to the 1800s. We built a digital mountain range here at the end of the street to cover up the sound stages, so as an audience, you didn't see the fact that we were still on the lot. However, today you can see all of that, including Steven Spielberg Drive, the road we're turning onto now. In fact, I'm going to let Mr. Spielberg talk to you a little bit about the part he played in bringing the Jaws attraction to life.
The Jaws ride was almost the inevitable result of the size of the box office when Jaws first opened in June of 1975. And that was really the first time I ever got involved in the creation of a ride. It was a great honor to be invited into a creative circle of tremendous designers at Universal that were trying to figure out how to replicate what the movie had done to audiences in a real way by building a physical shark that would come out of the water and terrify tourists as they were sitting in the tram. And the most amazing thing about the Jaws ride is it is exactly as it was from the time it was first placed on the Universal lot. There have been tweaks, of course, over the years, but it is essentially what the designers and myself all envisioned and created. I'm done bashing the shark. Thank you, Jaws, for everything you've done for me. But I will say, consistently, the shark did work much better on the tour than it did in the Atlantic Ocean in 1974.
Climbing the hill out of Amity Island into our neighborhood area, the White Ranch House on your right played the Chicken Ranch in the movie musical The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas with Dolly Parton and Burt Reynolds. And years later, Rob Zombie turned it into the House of a Thousand Corpses. We've also used it for a lot of television. Over the years, of course, episodes of everything from Murder, She Wrote to About a Boy to Ghost Whisperer, The Mentalist, and of course Ted. Ted used it for an episode. In fact, Ted is also using our Colonial Street that we're heading into now. This is by far the most popular neighborhood set that we have here on the lot. This all played Wisteria Lane for ABC's Desperate Housewives. We also filmed the Netflix show Never Have I Ever up here. The main character, Davy, had her house on this street. And let me show you the house from Ted, because it is on your right. It's a light blue house. I'll pause that so you can see it. So this is all set up for filming. You notice how it's distressed a little bit. And then you can see it here in this scene from Ted.
Steven Spielberg. How many we got? Well, let's see. We got 20 copies. Do you think we're getting too late for this?
Come on, Johnny, we're doing a public service here. If a kid leaves the house in a less than stellar Halloween costume, he's got to get the bad news before he makes a fool of himself all over town. We're Samaritans.
That is from the Halloween episode. Ted, they are back in filming season 2. This street has changed a lot over the years. A lot of people still recognize it as this. Wisteria Lane there from ABC's Desperate Housewives on your screens. But this area used to have a small town set built here at the turnaround. That was used for the 6th Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. It was also used for Buffy the Vampire Slayer for an episode called Hush, The Gentleman Floating Down the Street. That episode nominated for an Emmy Award. And we've used it over the years in all sorts of television. A show called Good Girls filmed a lot out here. They did an episode where they crashed a car into the house. They blew up the Klopek house out here for the movie The Burbs. And of course, Desperate Housewives did things like a tornado episode, a plane crash on the street, and they burnt a house down in their pilot episode. So we're doing pretty much whatever you want here on the street. The Purple House is the old Munsters house. That was 1313 Mockingbird Lane back in the 60s. And that show, of course, was being made right as we started our studio tour. So a lot of the early guests on the studio tour were huge fans of the Munsters. That house was a big draw for a lot of those guests. You can see a little bit of Colonial Street and how it's been used through the years. More often than not, we see in a lot of commercials nowadays. There's a big Wayfair campaign that's shot all here in Colonial Street. A lot of insurance commercials as well. And you might see the Lion Estate signs coming up on your left side. Another neighborhood, of course, one from Back to the Future. It's where Marty McFly lived in those films. One of the executive producers in Back to the Future was, of course, Steven Spielberg. I'm going to bring him back to tell a little story that goes back to him writing our studio tour.
My entire career began with my relationship with Universal Studios just as a high school kid on a tour bus. Remember, in those days, there weren't trams, there were buses called the Gray Line Tour Bus. And I was so excited and thrilled to be on the lot. This was my first time ever on a movie studio lot. And during a bathroom break, I hid in the bathroom And when everybody left to get back on the bus, I waited another 15 minutes until I'm sure the bus left, and then I had the entire lot to myself that day. And in those days, movie lots were so crowded because all movies were made on film lots. Say they're made all over the world, but most of it was focused in those days, in the 60s, on film lots. So nobody noticed me when I was going around from soundstage to soundstage, and I really felt, in my own young way, I owned the lot and had the most amazing day of my life.
All right, a lot to see around the corner. We got some beautiful picture cars on your left side from things like our Jurassic franchise, the Flintstones. We can't have picture cars without including some Fast and Furious picture cars. Picture cars, any car we use on screen. So these are all screen-used vehicles. And even a few Transformers there at the end. Bumblebee and a Decepticon police car. And yes, you might be noticing it's Halloween Horror Nights on your right side. This is our Terror Tram attraction. And look at this, a bloody Hollywood sign right up in front of you as we make the turn. So, Blumhouse, they are our partners, and this year's Terror Tram is called Enter the Blumhouse, where you get out, walk around, and get chased around by some of the guys you see standing in front of the Hollywood sign, like the Grabber from Black Phone, some of our Purgers, and of course Megan this year. So, if you're coming back tonight, we'll look forward to seeing you out here. This area is one of the creepiest on the lot because it houses the original set from Alfred Hitchcock's movie Psycho. The house is up in front of you on the left. Here it is on your screen. Psycho, considered one of the greatest horror films of all time. Uh-oh, don't look now. Norman Bates out there to greet us. Hey, Norman, so good to see you.
Ay, Dios mío, está sacando. Va a atacar,
Don't worry, he'll never find us back here. We'll hide out in the plane crash set that was built for a movie called War of the Worlds. War of the Worlds starred Tom Cruise, Dakota Fanning, Tim Robbins, Justin Chatwin. And this amazing set was built over the course of a few months. We're going to get to hang out here for a minute. So, I was here when they did this movie, and I remember they mapped out the set, so they had where each piece of the plane was going to go. The plane was a real plane. It was retired, sitting in an airport out in the desert, so the production purchased it. It was roughly $60,000 to purchase the plane, and then they ripped it apart into all these pieces. Each piece was trucked here on the highways, so that was a huge transportation project. Cost them roughly $200,000. And then the neighborhood set was built around this, and this neighborhood is a match for the New Jersey location where a lot of this movie was shot. So they shot a lot of War of the Worlds on location in New Jersey, which is where it takes place, and then here in Hollywood, where they were able to use our sound stages and big areas of the backlot. The end result looks a little bit like this. You're going to hear from production designer Rick Carter here, as well as director Steven Spielberg.
Here's a perfect example of a set that was all designed around the vision of Steven. When we first began to sit down to talk about War of the Worlds, I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in the big world? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing good. That's amazing. Listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Now I'm closed. Bobby, get in. Get in.
If you haven't seen War of the Worlds, you should. It's great. This one came out in 2005, but War of the Worlds is an old story. It was written in the 1800s by H.G. Wells, told on radio by Orson Welles in the 30s, and then there was a 1950s film. And the 2005 movie, The Grandparents, are played by the two stars of the 1950s film War of the Worlds. So it's kind of a nice nod to the legacy of this story. And then after they were done filming, they gave us the set for the studio tour. And that doesn't always happen. A lot of times, once we're done filming, they tear down the set so that we can build something else here. And before War of the Worlds, this area was Whoville for Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And then before that, it was also Site B from two Jurassic movies, The Lost World and Jurassic Park. So it's been a couple different things, but since it's been War of the Worlds, we've had it for the tour, and then obviously we use it for Halloween Horror Nights as well. So it's a really fun area of our backlot. I'll let you know we are about 10 to 15 minutes away from the end of the tour. We'll be returning you to the theme park shortly. Once again, if you have an emergency, pull the cord. I will be back to assist you, but please remain seated on the tram. Now, we have one last set visit to show you. We're going to head to Jupiter's Claim, which is from Jordan Peele's film Nope. Jordan Peele, of course, one of our partners. Before he did great movies like Get Out and Us and Nope, he actually did a lot of Key and Peele right here at the studio. So you go back and watch that sketch show, you'll notice our studio in a lot of those sketches. But he was nice enough to give us one of the sets from his movie Nope. So here to guide us through Jupiter's Claim is Academy Award winner Jordan Peele.
Movie magic only happens when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible mission and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Claim, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky Juke Park. Over there, look into the winking well and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Show. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? Well, a little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live anymore. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy, the gold rush frontier town, lies a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center of the UFO hotspot. What's a bad miracle? Welcome to the world of no.
Creepy in Jupiter's Claim. Nope, filmed on location up in Dulce, which is a small town about 45 minutes north of us. So that set was originally assembled up there. Once they were done filming, they reassembled it here on the lot. They opened that on the tour the same day the movie opened back in 2022. All right, we've taken you through some classic horror and disaster scenes. Well, we're going to wrap up this tour by getting you in an action scene from Fast and Furious. What we're about to experience. Luke, where are you at?
I'll tell you who I am, boy.